Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for a second topic of discussion for today. And as we noted earlier in our introduction, we're going to be shedding the light on the Mediterranean Games, which are currently being held in Oran. And of course, we're going to be talking more about Egypt's participation in these games. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Samy, sports critic. A very good morning, doctor, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, good morning. It's always a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all ours, Dr. Mona. First of all, if you can tell us or walk us through the history of the games and also the history of Egypt's participation in this competition.
Yes, of course. Egypt has a great history in the Mediterranean Games. Especially, it originated with the idea of the Egyptian Muhammad Tahir Pasha. Egypt has a total of 569 medals all over the editions of the games. And in the last edition in Tarragona, Egypt had 45 medals, including 18 gold. So the delegation of the Egyptian team in this edition had a great challenge in front to perform well and achieve better number of medals than the previous version.
Dr. Mona, what about the choice of the venue and the choice of Oran to host the games this year?
Oran was announced as a host city in Pescara, Italy, in August 2015. So it's a good choice because, especially for Egypt, as same culture. The player in an Arabic country, I think that it's like for us a festival between the Arabic countries. So I think it's very good for the Egyptian team for this tournament to be held in Oran. The opening ceremony will be today at 7 p.m. At Cairo time, with the presence of the Algerian president. And the Ministry of Youth, Dr. Ashraf Sobhi. We also had the Ferial Ashraf and Sif Isa will carry the Egyptian flag at the opening of the game. We knew that Ferial is the gold medalist in karate competitions at Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And also Sif Isa is the bronze medalist in the Taekwondo competition in Tokyo.
Yes. What about the choice of the mascot for the games?
I don't hear you.
The mascot that was chosen to represent the games this year.
I think the mascot was very cheerful, and I like the colors of the mascot with the orange and the blue, and also it's like joyful for this mascot.
Yes,
I think I like that so much.
Also, Dr. Mona, about the games, how many games are included in the competition this year?
It's 24 games, but Egypt participated in 19 sports, 19 sports only, and swimming, cycling, football federations apologized for participating in the competition. So Egypt, the delegation of the Egyptian is with 180 male and female players in 19 sports.
Yes. What about also the participating nations and the competitors and your expectations for the Egyptian athletes that are participating in this competition?
At first, I thought this is like a mini Olympics. So we will see a very challenging competition. For Egypt, we had some promising sports that we want to hold. Had some medals like fencing. They doing very well very recently, and they has a promising player. So I suppose, and I think that fencing will have one more than medal. Also karate. The karate players are very promising player, and we had a huge number of players will participate in this competition. Of course, handball team. The handball team, the very popular team here in Egypt, which always the fans hold great hopes in all tournaments. Egypt handball group will be with Serbia, Italy, Tunisia, and Slovenia, and they will begin their matches first matches on Monday, 27 June, against Italy. I think they are the most sports that Egyptian athletes supposed to make medals. We can also say taekwondo. Taekwondo, maybe we can see one medal. But I don't think that we had any other medals in other sports other than this.
Also, Dr. Muna, what about the other competing nations, and which country do you believe is expected to win the highest number of medals in this competition?
I think Italy and France, they had a very promising to be in fronting. Although, despite being Algeria is the host country, I didn't think that they will be at the first or third, but maybe they will be in the first top 10. Hope also Egypt to be in the first top 10 because almost all over the previous editions, Egypt had a good rank in the middle table.
Yes. Also, Algeria is participating in this competition. Your expectations for the performance of the Algerian athletes in different sports?
The performance of different Algerian athletes?
Yes.
As I said before, the Algerian athletes will do well, but I thought that they won't be the first. Number one in the middle, or number two, or number third. I think they will be in the top 10 because yes, Algeria has a great athletes and has a good athletes. But for the last Tokyo Olympics and for any tournaments before in different sports, they will not be the first one here because we don't speak about one sport or another. They like 24 sports. With the major 244 events. So it will be difficult for any Arab countries to be in the first, but I thought that we will see more than one Arab country, including Egypt, in the top 10.
Yes, indeed. Also, Dr. Muna, how do you see the efforts exerted by the Ministry of Youth and Sports to support the young Egyptian athletes and to support them to collect medals and to ensure the best performance in such and the best representation for Egypt in such international and important competitions?
Yes, of course. I think this is a very good support. Dr. Ashraf Sobhi, Minister of Youth and Sports, came to Algeria yesterday morning and held a session with the players of the Egyptian delegation. Also urged them to appear in a best image and raise the name of the Egypt high during participation in the Mediterranean Games. We always see him and of course the Minister of Youth with all the supporting all sports and all delegations in different sports. So I think it's very good in a major thing for all sports.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Mona Samy, sports critic, really appreciate your insight, and thank you so much for joining us on The Breakfast Show. And dear viewers, by this, we wrap up today's episode of The Breakfast Show. You were in the company of myself, Karim Gamaluddin, and my colleague Dina Hussein. Until we meet again, this is goodbye.